Hello there, David Taylor on Mr. Pelargonium, back with another video for the Pelargonium and Geranium Society. I think it's time at long last we had a look at our test plant. It was February actually, the last time that we looked at it, and time sped through. It's the middle of May now, so let's have a look. Hello there, well it's good to see you again. I thought it was time that we had a look at our test plant because it has grown on very well, to be quite honest, unlike a good number of my dwarfs that I originally earmarked for show, which I lost a great number through the winter, but our test plant has actually done very well, and I didn't plan it this way, it's just the way it's gone this time. I'm filming this on the 16th of May, Tuesday the 16th of May. When we talk about our test plant that we've been looking at over the last well over a year now, is a question mark as to whether I may even consider putting this in the show. So what I'll do now, I'll home in and we'll have a little look to see how it's developed since February. Now it does have to be said that I've been really impressed with how this has developed. It's grown, I mean, if we look at the sort of the top view, we can see it's perfectly rounded, it is developed well. I mean, it does have to be said that this was a plant that was slightly misshapen, and we've actually done well to get it into a nicely shaped little plant. This was, when did we repot this? I'll have a little potted history on the back. This was repotted in the middle of July last year, 14th of July last year. We haven't done anything much with it since in terms of repotting. The only thing that I probably would do with this now would be to, after a little bit of a trim in the late summer, I would probably repot it at that point. So that'll be the sort of the natural next video for it. It has of course been well fed, balanced feed, full strength all through the winter, although obviously through the winter it doesn't get it very often. We've given it a few shapes. I think we give it a little bit of a shape up back in February, which was the last time we looked at the plant. And as I say, looking at the top, it's developed a good rounded shape. The only problem that I can see is this side stem here. We've got a side stem that's growing out here. And this is the only part of the plant which I think probably needs attention, because this needs cutting back really to give it a good shape. But the only reason I'm perhaps hesitant about that is because I have not got many plants, I've not got many dwarfs rather, for the actual show this year. And do I want to consider putting this in the show? I think a lot of growers have had a lot of problems during this spring because it's been so cool in the UK. While I'm chatting, I will just take a few slightly yellowing leaves off. I would have to cut this down. Hopefully you can see this here. I would have to cut that down to that leaf joint there. I've got two side shoots coming out either side of there. They're very tiny at the moment, you can barely see them. But there's one the other side and one this side. And I would need to just slice that there to balance this plant off. We have got a bloom there just sort of pushing out to the side. Whether that would be able to disguise it or not is probably debatable. But so, you know, the blooms are beginning to come. I've got several pulling through. So I'm sort of, you know, really, I don't quite know what to do. I think it almost does deserve, just to see how it does, a place on the show bench. But that clearly misshapens it, that. And we've got, where are we? We're almost exactly a month. As I've said, it's the 16th of June today. The 16th of May today, and the show is on the 17th of June. So I think what I'm going to do, I am going to take that off. You wouldn't normally sort of do this, but it's really bugging me, that stem sticking out, because if I take that off, then the plant in terms of shape is complete. And I think we've done well to get it to this point. relatively early. Let's remind ourselves of the timing. It's an August 21 cutting. There's a little test plant label. It's an August 21 cutting, so it's coming up for 2 years old. So you probably would expect to see it on the show bench at this stage, but it's come better than I was expecting it to be quite honest. Because we did have to perform quite a bit of reshaping on it. It wasn't the best of original shapes. So, you know, it's given you a good background in how to potentially, you know, work on a plant to get it to show standard. So I'm going to go back to this stem. I'm going to do it because it's misshapen and it's bugging me. Hopefully you'll be able to see it, but there's a break there. There's a little node just beginning to break through there, and there's even one the other side. And I'm going to take it just above that nodal joint. And there we are. But this really is the last misshaped stem on it. And there's the bloom. It's quite a strong growing shoot. And there we are. That now to me is almost perfectly balanced. I just need to turn that to get I have probably not been turning it enough. One thing that you do need to do for show plants, you need to regularly turn them. And I've probably not been doing that one as much as I should have been. It needs to be, this side now needs to be pointed towards the sun just to drag it over a little bit. But there is no misshapen stems on there. We could potentially start to think about spreading some of these blooms. But I've just taken that off now. I'm confident that in the next month we can get a little bit of leaf growing over that. We've even got a bloom there that potentially can sort of cover it over. But I just that was really bugging me, that stem. And I'm just going to leave that now. And I think I probably will enter it in the show, primarily because I've not got many others to enter. I've not got many dwarf zonals at all. As I said, I've had a bad year. So I'm just having a look down. Do I need to take any other leaves off? That one's not the best of leaves, weak. I have let it dry out, but we've got good stem breaks growing on there in the middle. We've got another dead leaf just in there. Take that off. Other than that, it's quite tidy, it's quite fresh. I'll just let that heal off, which it should do today because it's going to be quite a warmish day. And there we are. That's as much as I'm going to do, but I'm very pleased with the way that's worked out. Okay, so there we are. That's really all I can say about it. It's grown very well. Balanced feed all the time. I'm still giving it balanced feed. I mean, you could argue that it could go over to iPotash now, sort of in this lead up to the show, but I don't think I will bother. But that's done excellently, and I think it's been a good bit of background knowledge into how to develop a plant that maybe is slightly misshapen, that you can, you know, get towards making a show plant. As I say, next step will be a little bit of work in the late summer, probably a repot, and if there's any little bit of shaping that maybe needs to be done. But I think we're more or less there on the shape of it now, and I'm quite pleased. And hopefully we'll be able to get it through the winter and get it through for the show next year. And it'll be a 3-year-old plant by then, and you know, should look pretty decent. Okay, so that just about wraps up this video. A little look at our test plant, and as I say, we'll be back in the late summer to have a look at it again. But in the meantime, bye-bye for now.